Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil. Apologies for not being able to get any content out over the weekend. I had a few things that I was doing between my wife had I was getting something set up in the background here for you guys. So my wife had a wedding this weekend, so that kind of Saturday kind of killed that, and then the time I would have used to content create, I was watching the Ohio State play with both of my little girls, which was so much fun. They fell asleep during the game, but it was great to watch with them. And then on Sunday, we actually had an event for where Harper gets her therapy done. As you guys know, it's a place that we support throughout the year. And in about 2 months' time, so bookmark your calendars for, I think it's November the 22nd, will be our Extra Give charity stream where I will go live stream. And all streams for that event the money from the event will go directly to Schreiber. Last year, we raised almost $1,000 on stream, which was the biggest live stream I've ever had in terms of money, and all of it went to Schreiber, so bookmark your calendars for that. I want to share some clips from this weekend. They had their Ducky Dash Festival, and then I want to talk Conquest FAQs with you guys. But I feel like sometimes I don't always get to update you on stuff outside the game, and I feel like people, once in a while they ask, hey, Phil, what are you doing? So please like and subscribe. We're going to give our shout to the channel members before we get into the action from this weekend. Thank you guys for your support, your love. It means so much to me, to the family. Thank you guys for being a part of this channel and making it really what it is. You will have pushed me to be a better creator. You have pushed me to get you better content. So thank you for that. Let's get into our video. All right, so I want to start it off here with my personal favorite moment from this weekend, which was my daughter running her first race. So you will see Harper's race here. I'm going to pause the music so that way you guys can just hear what's going on. So she will be on the, whoops, come on, screen capture. Pull it back up. So she will be on the right-hand side of the video, or over here, I guess. She'll be over here. And I'm the lunatic in the orange shirt that's running over to the side there. So let's make sure you guys can see this. There we go. All right. So Harper's over here, and then she's going to cut this way. So that was Harper's first ever race. It brings me so much joy to be able to say that. It was 100 meters for Schreiber, so that was a lot of fun. And then as many of you know, I ran cross country and track a very long time ago. So I ran the 1 mile race, and that was the first time I had run in many, many moons. So I ran that. My wife ran too. She asked not to show her clip, but I will show you the clip of me coming down the finish with a special friend of mine to come help me finish the race. So Harper completely missed the finishing chute there, but oh my goodness, it was great to have her run that last little bit with me, because I've never, that's the first time I've really got to run anything with her, and it brought me, I actually was brought to tears during her event. So I wanted to share this with you guys. If you are curious on my time, you can ask the Discord. It was not fast, but I did win because it was a very small event, so I was very fortunate. But let's get into Conquest FAQs here. I wanted to share that with you guys. I don't know. You let me know if you're like, Phil, don't ever do that again. But I thought that was fun to show you guys kind of an update on a little bit of what, Harper's been through, right? And seeing her run like that, and then getting to run with me there at the end. I know you guys don't always get to see the non-Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes side of Fat Phil there. And yes, those are like a normal pair of running shorts for me. I know for many of you that was jarring to see, so I apologize. But let's talk Conquest FAQs here. So the first thing we can talk about with Conquest is a lot of players ask about the Conquest Passes. So I've always said the $10 pass, in my opinion, is probably the best bang for your buck. The one thing I want to note with that, it's if you are considering buying it, if you buy it at the end of Conquest, you're still going to be able to collect every piece of the rewards. The only thing I'll say is that one of the big ways that this pass is worth it is that it gives you the Ezra shard. So if you're someone who gets the max crate and you purchase the the Conquest Pass for $10, you're going to get 20 Ezra shards for free. So by doing that, you can bank all of the Conquest currency that you would have spent on Ezra, which is over 2,000. So you would have saved 525 4 times. So you would get 2,100 currency in your pocket to be able to spend on various resources. And there's some blue signal data. There's green, blue, and white signal data available in Conquest. There's relic materials. Like, there's some very good stuff there. So that $10 pass could really be worth it for that. It gives you additional Luthen shards. It's even throwing out Trench shards, the GOAT. There's core gear and datacrons and stuff, but I think the bigger stuff is those extra shards for the current Conquest character. And obviously the previous one is nice, but primarily that current one. They give you some Omicrons as well, but that current Conquest character, being able to get that currency, really worth it. The Pass Plus, the $30 one, I don't know that this is really worth it for most players because I can get the red crate. I've never purchased this. You don't need it. Does it make Conquest nicer? Absolutely. It'll give you more energy to farm more datacrons with. I know a lot of players purchase it for that reason. The only people I would say who could potentially really get a lot of benefit from this pass, if you don't have as large of a roster, it will give you 2 feats for free. The one thing you have to keep in mind is that the feats it does give you for free are the one that needs like massively overpowered, which is, I think, the one for Gungans. Yeah, so like winning with Gungan surviving and winning with Master Qui-Gon surviving, that's what the Conquest Pass Plus will give you. In my opinion, those 2 feats are far easier than winning with a full squad of Imperial Remnants and Night Sisters. I think those are much more challenging than the Gungans and Qui-Gon, but who am I to say? So there is part of that, and then it also gives you an extra day of Proving Grounds. So if you would need to use Proving Grounds, that is beneficial. But the stamina regeneration, your extra energy is great, but the stamina regen, if you have a smaller account and you have maybe one Night Sister team, but you want to try and use them as much as possible, the extra stamina is nice. So can be worth it. In terms of underrated teams, there's 3 kind of things I want to share with you that I think are underrated. So number 1 is the Night Sisters. And it's very funny because like they're the premier team for this Conquest. Like they're everywhere. But if you just relic Daka, this team is fantastic in Conquest. Like this Gear 12s gets me 3 stars every single time because Daka will just hang around and revive everyone, right? She can revive everyone. And if you have Talzin's leadership and you defeat somebody and a Night Sister that was dead, assisted and all that, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you can get revives there. It's a very, very good team. The other thing here is they're all support units, right? Oops. So if you go through like Mother Talzin here, look, support, or she's healer, and then support. So there's that Zealous Ambition data disc. If you run that, you're actually able, it's very funny, but you're actually able to like start critting and damaging them for crazy because Zealous Ambition gives you offense equal to your max health. So someone like Old Daka with 130,000 max health just starts wrecking people left and right. And with this Conquest in particular, you've got these 2 who we need to get certain feats with. Very, very doable with those other Night Sisters, being able to revive them and everything. It's an awesome, awesome team. Something that I'd really recommend you do. And they're not that challenging to, it's not that hard to pull off. And then we've got Rey. She's the Queen of Conquest. When you need to put somebody to survive, like this, we have Keller and Beck. Let's say you've got a low gear Keller and Beck, stick him with Rey, put some tanks in there, and he's going to survive and he'll be fine. She is so good for those feats of like a light side character surviving because you throw in a tank in there. She's got the damage immunity. She's got a lot of different things that really benefit kind of surviving, especially too if you have this data disc for Voluntary Vanguard. Like my Rey, if I put Baby Cal with her, she doesn't ever drop below like 60% health, and most of that's from her using Lifeblood. It's awesome. Really, really love using Rey in Conquest. She's definitely the queen. And then the Sith Triumvirate. This is a team, again, very similar to Night Sisters. You have 2 support units in Traya and Nihilus, so their max health translates into additional offense for them, which is huge. And then Darth Sion's a tank, but you can really put any Sith you want in here. So one of the things I've done a lot is I'll put characters like Darth Malgus and Darth Malak in here if I need to. You could say, oh, well, that's defeating those other 2 teams. I have found at times this team is more beneficial than a Sith Empire team or even a Darth Revan team when you're trying to get something done without attackers in your team. Like, this is a fantastic way to get that done because they're all very good units and they work together well enough with that Traya team. And if you put something like the, what is that called? Amplify Agony with these guys, like they just start wrecking house left and right. Caustic Emissions, you know, you keep them alive really, really easily. The next question I've got asked a good bit is about the 100 Crystal Refresh and is this worth it? So just to put that in perspective of what that costs you, if you do 100 Crystal Refresh every day for a Conquest, it's 1,400 crystals. 2 of those would be 2,800. 300 Crystal Refreshes would be 4,200 crystals. That's per Conquest. You think a Conquest cycle is 3. So imagine 12,600 crystals spent on those 100 crystal refreshes. That's a lot of crystals to spend over the course of 3 months that you're just in Conquest. That doesn't include your outside your energy. So for the sake of, say, Datacrons, right? I don't think it's that worth it. I don't know that I would be telling you to do this for Datacrons because you're not going to get 4,000 crystals of value from Datacrons. I do not think most people can get that value. And I say no, and then I say asterisks here. You're not going to get the value, but could you get enjoyment? Do you maybe need it for territory wars? Absolutely, but you will not get a direct return of 4,200 crystals from Datacrons. I'm sorry to all those to burst your bubble, but you will not. You will not get an increase in your income of 4,200 crystals. That's just the way that I feel. I'd love to debate somebody on that, and I would be willing to do that, but I don't think anybody would tell you that you actually get those in return. A lot of people who spend that have the disposable crystal income where that's possible. I can tell you that I most definitely do not. Now, the interesting part here is those hundreds could be worth it if it means going from box 5 to box 6 or even box 6 to box 7, because that's a completely different situation. Box 5 to box 6 is the one jump I would say that I would try as much as you can to do that. The reason for it is because at box 5 you get 50 shards of Ezra, and box 6 you get 65. If you purchase all of the character shards for Ezra through his 3 conquests, that's an additional, 60 shards. Then, when he's the secondary unit, you're going to get an extra 75 shards. And then getting 65 3 times, if you do the math, I've said this before, I've got Conquest videos to explain it, but you're going to get 330 shards. So the difference between box 5 and box 6 is you don't have to wait for Proving Grounds and you don't have to do any more purchasing of their shards with crystals or Conquest currency. It's just when they're the active character. So that box 6 I always say is your goal, because that means no Proving Grounds, no additional investment required. You can just get the character and move on. Box 7, if you purchase the shards, will allow you to get a full character inside of 3 conquests. So going from box 6 to box 7 can absolutely be worth it. The difference here is that box 5 to 6 to me, if you had to spend the hundreds, I would be okay with that. If you had to spend them to go from the box 6 to 7, then what I want to ask you, if we go back to our squads here, is what kind of character are you getting? Like, look at Luthen. I haven't geared up Luthen. So if I was spending the 100 crystal refreshes to get Luthen, I would consider that a waste. Because I'm not using him, I'm not going to be gearing him up for a little bit. So I pissed away those 100 crystals for nothing to go from 6 to 7. But if that was somebody like Darth Bane that I was spending those crystals to get him, unlock him, and use him, then yeah, it definitely was worth it because he's a fantastic character and I'm getting use out of him. So I just want you to kind of keep that in mind with these characters. Ask yourself, hey, before I go make this decision, where do I see them fitting into your roster? And for everybody, that could be different. For some people, Luthen was an immediate, I'm plugging him into my Saw Gerrera team and I can't wait. For others of us, it's kind of like, we're going to wait and see how good he is. Someone like Ezra, I don't want to take the chance. I don't know when Ezra's coming or when Ahsoka's coming out, so we're just going to go all in for him. But if you're not planning on getting Ahsoka, don't try to rush getting to box 7 just to unlock a character who you may or may not use. All right, next is about cheesing feats. The last point, we'll talk a little bit here about cheesing feats. So this is what I used to get Acolyte surviving after I made it through that one sector. So when you're trying to cheese feats, you have to understand how to cheese them. So when I was in Sector 3 here, right, one of the feats for the sector is have 15 battles where Acolyte was surviving. So what a lot of people tell you is, oh, the team that I showed, that will get you, this team here, this will get Acolyte surviving. Absolutely will. But I was also able to get Acolyte surviving on this node here by just using a full Night Sister team. I was able to get Acolyte surviving on this node with her surviving. I was able to even do it here, and I think here as well. So one of the things I really get frustrated with is when players talk about cheesing feats, try to get as many of those done inside of the sectors. Like, don't wait to cheese a feat like if you can get her surviving out here in the full Night Sister team, do it. Because the Night Sisters, you need wins with them anyway. Like, there's feats around that. So if you can kind of work through that, it's a great thing. Now, there's a lot of Night Sister feats, so, take that with a grain of salt. But I don't like when people's first thought process is, I've got to game the system, right? Because sure, for this one, you could use an Acolyte, but say the 35 kills for Morgan, which there was a creator, I cannot remember off the top of my head, but he posted a really good video showing how to get those kills with Morgan. Go check that out. If you type it in, it'll show up. It had like 7,000 views last I saw. It was a really great video. But that is a feat that you can cheese. However, here's the difference. That feat is only worth 5 points. Whereas going and getting 15 battles with Geonosian Spy surviving is worth 3 times that. So before you go and try and cheese that Marin or the Morgan Elsbeth kills, let's make sure that we could maybe try to get kills with Geo Spy or kills with Death Trooper Peridia here. You've got to recognize that when you're going to cheese something, actually see if you need to cheese that feat. Like if you have to completely swap data crowns around and all that, or the data discs around and all this stuff, maybe wait and see if you actually need to complete that feat. I'm very confident I can complete Conquest without touching that feat. So if I don't have to set something special up, I'm all for it because I don't want to, I know I'm going to miss out on other feats throughout this cycle. So I'd rather just try and get the kills with Geospy. And maybe I find out that the Geospy thing is impossible, so I go and get Morgan. But don't just think immediately cheese if you can maybe get that kills in other ways. And then the other example I want to use is bonus turns, which was in Sector 2. So someone like Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, just using his basic grants him a bonus turn. So every time it's his turn and I use a basic, I'm getting a bonus turn. So I was very quickly able to farm bonus turns with Cal Kestis simply by using him. And if you have a larger account like mine, that's a very doable thing to do. And you'll learn as you get characters like Cal, you're like, hey, I can use him for bonus turns. And so that allows you to not have to worry about doing some cheese feat like this, where this is the OG cheese for something like that for those bonus turns. You just let Zombie keep dying, and Jedi Knight Anakin will keep taking bonus turns. It is such a great cheat code. It is hilarious to watch. It's so good, right? This is how I used to be able to beat the Sith Triumvirate raid, is you would just like have a Night Sister die and then watch Anakin take 50 bajillion turns. It was awesome. But you have no need for this if you're able to use someone like Cal to get those bonus turns for you. So I hope that kind of helps when it comes to cheesing feats, that don't just immediately assume you've got to go for the super cheesy things. Sometimes cheesing feats can just be using your head. Just use your head and think, hey, do I have characters who can get this done while doing battles? Because the goal, like your legitimate goal would be, like by the time that, I mean, Sector 5, getting 15 wins with Geonosian Spy surviving, basically going to be impossible. But like gaining accuracy up 50 times, inflicting plague 100 times, your goal should be by the time you get to here and here, that you're done with those kind of feats. Because then you can just focus on the absolutely ridiculous 15 wins with Spy surviving. So, hopefully that helps you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the look into our weekend. As always, please like, subscribe, comment down below. I love you all. May the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.